Ladies and gentlemen, here it is.
Streaming 24/7.
24/7.
Bold Moves Radio.
Bold Moves Radio.
Africa, nakupenda sana. Oh, Africa, nakupenda sana.
Welcome. This is Bold Moves Radio, and the program is The Conversation. Welcome, you all, my brothers and sisters, my friends, wherever you're joining us from, whichever platform you're using. Those of you on Facebook, and those of you on YouTube, and of course, those of you on radio, Bold Moves Radio. Thank you so very much. I welcome you all tonight, and it is The Conversation with Pastor Strike. And I have my guests tonight, and I know we're going to have a great and an awesome time this evening, because what we are going to deal with, like you see on the ad that I brought out, it says the topic is It's Possible. It's possible. So The Conversation is a platform where we handle every other topic, every other issue that is of great importance, making sure that we are touching lives through the program and making sure that we are changing lives, more especially the lives of our young ones. I'm very passionate about learners, about students, about young professionals. As a South African, the president spoke about rebuilding our economy, which is my greatest concern. And I'm looking at employment of young people. I'm looking at employment of young professionals. I'm looking at entrepreneurs. So these are things that are very close to my heart. So tonight on The Conversation, we are going to look at It Is Possible. And I have my guests here. I have one of my guests, it's MOVESA Mukwebo. MOVESA Mukwebo, she's a geologist. In fact, she holds an honors degree cum laude in geology. And she just came from varsity. And I'm going to take this time and just welcome her and let you see her face. Welcome, MOVESA, and good evening to you.
Thank you so much, Pastor. I feel welcome to be in the show, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so very much, MOVESA. And of course, I also have in this show Nyeleti Baloyi. Nyeleti Baloyi, she's a finalist of LLB. This is a final year, and she is with us on the platform tonight. And we're going to share very wonderful stories. And of course, she's one of those students that are very hardworking, and we're proud of her as a young lady who has done law and who's finishing her law degree this year. Nyeleti, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Pastor Strike, and good evening to all our viewers. It's lovely always being back on Bold Moves Radio. Hoping to have some good conversation this evening.
Lovely. Thanks so very much, Nyeleti. We really appreciate it. And of course, when we hear your voice, we quickly think of Bay Waves, which is our youth program. And you guys, you and Happiness are doing well on it. And thank you so very much. And I hope Happiness is with us now. Let me see if Happiness, are you with us? Indicate to me so that I can be able to welcome you. But in the meantime, I would love to welcome one of our professional or our entrepreneur in our midst, and I will ask my camera guys to zoom to him when I introduce him. Don't give me some wide angle. When I asked for MOVESA, I could see that I have got MOVESA and another gentleman there, and MOVESA is not a gentleman, she's a lady. Thank you so very much. But we have a gentleman who is an MD of his own company. Why I brought him in is because this gentleman, he did his diploma in accounting, and is one of those entrepreneurs who stood up and then started an accounting firm, which today has grown and has employed quite a sizable number of people. And I feel it's very much important for him also to be with us so that we can share some very valuable information. Mr. Mahlati JR, and he is an MD of JR Accountants, J&R Accountants. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Pastor Strike. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I did not cut to this man. Oh, this is the man I'm talking about. That's Mr. Mahlat. You can see that is the MD of J&R Accountants. Thank you so very much, sir. It's good to have you tonight. And of course, we have got one of our moms here. She's a professional. She's an academic. She's also just finishing her LLB. In fact, she finished her LLB and she's graduating, but she's an economist and she's one of our civil servants, and that is none other but Mrs. Rulani Baloy. Mama Rulani, good evening and welcome this evening to the show.
Good evening, Pastor Strike, and good evening to the listeners and the viewers of Bold Moves Radio. I am excited to be part of the show tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, ma'am. And tell me, with government or with the municipality, can you tell us a little bit of what you are doing? And of course, your field of study before we talk of your LLB degree that you're completing.
Okay, thank you, Pastor. I have done agricultural economics.
Oh, yes.
So by profession, in the beginning, when I started my career, I was an agricultural economist with the provincial government. And afterwards, I went and joined the municipality. Now I'm doing everything. I'm in the economics department of the municipality. But I've always had a passion. When I started wanting to go to university, my plan was to become a lawyer. But unfortunately, the background of the parents was my mom did not have a good experience of lawyers. There's just been a lawyer who was scrapped from the role. And when I said I want to be a lawyer, she said, no ways, you will be without a job because lawyers can be scrapped, literally, because she did not understand. And even myself, back then we did not have internet where I could research, get more information, and be able to back up my decision. I had to agree with her and say, okay, the next best thing that I can do is to be an economist. But I never moved away from that desire. This year, I'm a master's graduate, but I saw it fit that there is no way I'll leave this world without fulfilling my passion of being a legal person. So this year, I'm completing my undergraduate degree. I had enrolled with UNISA for an LLB degree. I have never enjoyed studying like I did when I was doing my LLB. Every time I open a book, I was excited to hear what are they saying. So I realized that when you have passion in something, it becomes simpler for you to do it. Sure. So that's where I am. And I'm using the legal experience, the knowledge that I've acquired already, because within the municipality, I am responsible for investment promotions and tourism. You cannot promote investments for the city and not have some legal backgrounds to back you up, because there are legal issues that come into play as and when we recruit companies, entrepreneurs to start businesses within the city, and even in tourism, of course. So I've realized that what I desired to be, I can still fulfill it. It doesn't matter when you actually come into starting what you wanted to do, but the idea is that you should never lose hope. You should hold on and continue with what you wanted to do. Thank you, Pastor.
I made a mistake by asking you a question, and I realized you're really doing marketing, of your municipality, and you're doing a good job at that. And I'm tempted to say also that Sunday evening from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, Mama Roland Baloshi will be running a show, Prudent Woman. And it's a very powerful show for all ladies. So we are ready for Prudent Woman. And Thank you so very much, Mama Roland. We really appreciate. And I see that happiness because she's an air traffic controller. This one, she's an air traffic controller. And as we speak, she's right in the tower controlling traffic. And I said to her, please, you better concentrate until all your traffic is cleared, because we don't want trouble while you're talking to us. And the next thing, there's an accident because the traffic controller was engaged with something else. Thank you so very much. And that is happiness. She left medical studies. She was doing a third year, and she got a scholarship to do aviation, and specifically now doing air traffic control, and also aspiring to be a pilot. And she sends me a message. She says, "Lol, reminds me when my family found out that law." Or it reminds me when my family found out that law was one of my options. When I was applying to varsity, there I'll be lying on behalf of they said I'll be lying on behalf of the criminals, and by virtue I'll go to hell. And she says that's how she dropped law. Parents, they do their bit in trying to advise us when it comes to career. I wanted to do electricity, and my parents said, it will burn you. So that's our parents for you, but we really appreciate them. They did their part. So I just want to take this time and welcome you all, my viewers and all my listeners. What a wonderful evening. And you're asking yourself, with this hosts or with this group of guests that I have, what are we going to do? The topic tonight is It's Possible. And I'm saying to Elena, from any grade, from grade 6, from grade 8, this show is very much important for you because it shows you exactly where you are headed to. And of course, to those who are at varsity level, it also helps you to understand how to go about your studies, whether you want to finish and get employment or you want to finish and start your own practice or business. It is very relevant. It is very relevant to young professionals. It is very, very relevant also to entrepreneurs. So we keep starting this way. Modisa, we want to hear from you, my daughter. Just quickly tell us your journey. When we talk of a geologist, these are some of the fields that are not very much popular, if I may put it that way. I would want to know what stream of subject did you have to choose and how did it come about? And then the passion for geology and, where did it build up? And then quickly we'll look at your studies at varsity and look at, now that you have completed, you have done your honors, exactly where you are headed to. Modisa, if you could take us through very, very quickly.
It started in grade 9 when I was doing science and accounting. And then with accounting, I didn't really enjoy accounting. So my brother used to do geography, and he used to tell me about how he enjoys geography. So I changed from accounting to geography, and I started doing geography in grade 10. So I started doing geography in grade 11. So in grade 11, I was awarded as the top learner for geography, and that really motivated me. And because I was doing so well in it, I also wanted to continue furthering my studies in something that's related to geography. I then went to grade 11. Same thing happened. I was awarded as the top learner for geography in grade 11. And then when I was in
what is it that was exciting you with geography?
It was because I was moving from, accounting, numbers, and now moving to something that's more relatable, something that we always see every day, clouds and everything, the climate, things that affect us every day. Even if you're not doing geography or even if you're not interested in it, it does affect you. So when I was in grade 12, I decided to continue and do geology. I decided to apply to study for geology, but that was my second choice. My first choice was chemical engineering. I then went to university and I did geology. When I got to university, I then realized that geography and geology are two different things. Geography is more of what we interact with almost every day, the outside of the earth. And then with geology, it's more of the physical structure of the earth. So in first year, we used to go to field trips, and in field trips, that's where you work in the field. You get to do practical work at the field depending on your aims for that field trip. So as I started going to the field trips more, I realized that no man, this field that I chose, it's really for me. I enjoy being in the field. I enjoy exploring and doing adventurous activities. So by that time I was being funded by Department of Mineral Resource. And then with Department of Mineral Resource, they don't fund you when you finish studying. So I realized that it's best for me to look for a mining company that will fund me, so that after completing my studies, they can call you and you do your internship or graduate program. And if you start early, if they start funding you at an early stage, then you get to do VEC work throughout your studies. So this helps you that at the end of your studies, it won't really disadvantage you in terms of looking for a job, or in terms of knowing where to look for a job, because already you are introduced to the kind of environment that you're going to work in when you finish your studies.
So in a way, when they talk about experience, you have experience because you have been interacting with the work environment or the job market. And MOVESA, thank you very much for that. And you got your honors cum laude. Tell us a little bit about that and how you felt, and what have you put into your work to achieve that?
When I got it cum laude, at first, throughout the year, I could see that, okay, I might get a cum laude, but I didn't want that to pressurize me or to stress me, or, to focus too much on getting a cum laude. I told myself that, okay, now you're doing your honors, and the only thing that you can do is to do your best. Always strive to do your best. So that's what I was trying to achieve throughout the year, to study to do my best. And then my best got me the cum laude.
Lovely. And let us look at, you said something very much important before I come to Nyeleti. You said something very much important. The Department of Minerals and Energy had given you a bursary, and you were using that bursary, but then you changed and applied for a bursary with a mining company. Where did you get that information that it would be advantageous for you if you can have a mining company at least giving you a bursary or a sponsor of some kind?
My classmates were using a bursary from a mining company. So during holidays, they would go for VEC work, and I couldn't go for VEC work because my bursary did not offer that opportunity for VEC work. So every time when they have when they have bursary posts, I would apply for bursaries for me to be able to get that opportunity. And luckily enough, I applied for one of the mines, and they funded me for my honors.
Lovely. It's about 19 minutes after the hour 7. We are on Bold Moves Radio, and the program is called The Conversation, and we're taking this commercial break.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is.
Streaming 24/7.
24/7. Bold Moves Radio.
Afrika, nakupenda sana. Oh, Afrika, nakupenda sana.
Yes, this is The Conversation with Pastor Strike on Bold Moves Radio. We live on Bold Moves Radio YouTube and Bold Moves Radio Facebook page. The topic tonight is It's Possible. Look, it is possible. MOVESA is just giving us briefly her journey. And I'm saying choose a particular stream of subjects with the advice and with the desire, most especially of what you want to be. And I would even say, don't lock yourself very tight at an early age. Open up, spread your wings, get to understand exactly the dynamics around your area of interest. It can just come in handy. But one thing that is very, very much important is to realize that, most especially at varsity, is to realize that you might be having your NSFAS and it's doing well, it's taking it to school, but don't just relax and don't just be part of the people that are toying every day. One thing that I must say to you, my students of NSFAS, as much as it's important for us as government and as a nation to take care of our youth, more especially their studies, it is also very much important for you to understand that I am studying so that after that, I am absorbed in the job market so that I'm able to turn the situation in my family. And it is important while you have your NSFAS, it is important for you to also apply for bursaries with companies that deals with whatever you are studying so that you stand a chance of being exposed. And then, Melissa, you just finished your honors now. Let's talk about work. What is the company saying? Are you still having to throw around your CV looking for a job, or is the company absorbing you, giving you an internship, giving you an opportunity? What is happening?
So the mining when you get the bursary at the end of your studies, you're supposed to go and you work for them. So for me, I'm still waiting for them to finish their process, for them to take me and do my graduate program with the company that was funding me.
Lovely. That's great news. That's great news. And then what can you say to the learners, in brief, learners at high school, and also students at varsity? What would you love to advise them, looking at your journey, looking at your experience?
High school learners, I feel like I would want them to know that it doesn't matter where you come from, and it doesn't matter the circumstances that you are in. It's always possible. I know a lot of people talk about how when you go to university, you only aim for a 50 because a 51 is a distinction, or a 50 that's when you that's like the best mark you can get. But I want to tell you that even if you're in university, you can still perform the same way that you're performing in high school. And for those that are in university, to not give up on your dreams, stay true to yourself. And if, like what Pastor said, if you're not being funded by a company that's more related to your stream of work, then this is your opportunity to start looking for bursaries. And if you need help, you're always free to speak up, because there are people that are always there to help you, but they cannot help you if you don't speak up because they don't know that you have a problem.
True. Thanks so very much, Modisa. We really appreciate sharing with us such valuable information. And straight away, I would love to talk to Nyeleti. Nyeleti Baloy, you're finishing your LLB, girl, and we are proud of you too. We want you to tell us a little bit, because with privileged information, we've realized that by the grace of God, you're seeing CEOs of companies, MDs of companies, while a student, Nyelet, you're sitting in big, wonderful meetings. Tell us a little bit about let's talk about getting to varsity, or start with what you wanted to study. And today I got to know why you changed medicine. You joke. How can you change a field just because the rest looks old? You But Nyeleti, it's like, God just used that dilapidated race just to provoke something in you. Tell us a little bit, shifting from all the time we knew you want to do medicine, then you went to do law. Tell us a little bit about that and your journey. Like Modisa told us, she has been awarded a bursary by government, but she realized that her friends had bursaries from companies, and they had an opportunity to go and experience the environment. What story can you tell us to that?
Thank you so much. I'm a little disappointed that someone told you of that story. It is privileged information. But essentially, for the longest time, I had decided that I wanted to go study medicine. I actually wanted to be a pediatrician. This was greatly informed also by the fact that I teach in children's ministry. So I've always loved children. And for me, I thought that the one way to express my love for children would be to go and be a doctor for children. But I think over time, and especially in my grade 11, I realized that certain things weren't meant for my personality. You know, I evaluated myself and I felt maybe in a medical sphere, I wouldn't cope as well. Just personality-wise, it wasn't a great match. So my mother started her LLB when I was in matric. So for a lot of time, she'd be studying and I'd take a look at her books, and I actually started to be quite intrigued, because for the longest time I thought, okay, my second choice would be to be a human rights lawyer. And it's actually quite funny to see that I've deviated so much from what I thought I was going to be in high school, simply because I've allowed myself to be in environments that allow me to see other things. And I think it's important that even high school students, you know, where you are, you might be thinking, this is what I want to be. And it's great if God has revealed to you who you're going to be and what you're going to be in the future. But it's also important for you not to limit yourself to that one thing. Because had I decided for myself that, no, all I want is medicine, there's nothing else, I wouldn't have been able to see the other things that are more suited for me and that God has in store for me. So when I was in grade 10, I took life sciences, I took physics, but quite oddly, I took history. And I think from then I could almost see that a career in law would be good for me. Like MOVESA, I won the Best in History award for all 3 years in a row. So grade 10, all through 12, that award was mine. And I think my ability to argue really showed me that, okay, maybe perhaps a career as a lawyer would have been good for me, which is why I thought, okay, human rights law. And for the longest time, I can't even remember from what grade, Papa would make me go and work in his company over the holidays. So it wouldn't be for the whole holiday, but at least for like 2 weeks of a long holiday, then I knew that I was going to work. And just that experience was very important for me, being able to see all these different aspects, which I'll show you how relevant that experience has been for me going forward. But essentially, in grade 12, people came to my school. They said they were from the Ellen Gray Orbis Foundation. They were a bursary. And by the way, to our matric students, their applications are currently open. They close tomorrow. From what I'm going to tell you today, you will see that it's definitely an opportunity worth applying for. So they told me they are at our school, you know, they're looking for people to fund for the next year. So their objective is essentially to develop high impact social entrepreneurs in South Africa. So I listened to what they were saying and I thought, okay, this is great, but entrepreneur, is this me? You know, and they gave us applications and we took them home. I went home and I told my parents, look, guys, there's this. They're telling us they're going to fund us. They're going to give you stipend. They're going to pay for your books. Everything is covered, you know. And I told myself, okay, I was going to apply. And I started the application. Mama was going away for work the next day. So I was just left with Papa. And I started the application and the essays were so long. You know, that application in itself will lead you to a road of self-discovery. It is, they were quite long. And I sat there and I remember I called Mama crying the one night and I'm like, I can't do this. This application is too long. I want to go to sleep. And she said to me, you are applying here. There's no, I'm not doing it. You sit and you apply. And at the time, being Papa's, you know, little princess, if I'm crying, it's okay, you can leave it. But Mama she was not having it. You know, she was saying, you are going to apply for this thing. And I applied, and the next day at school, I was applying with a friend, and we eventually managed to post my application 5 minutes before the deadline. And I told those people at the post office, please write the time to make sure that this thing is accepted. They shouldn't deem it as late. So the whole application in itself was a little tedious because I got the information so late, but it's also so important. This really showed me the importance of taking an opportunity that presents itself before you. You shouldn't say, oh, but maybe I'm not good enough, or, oh, but I found out late. Maybe some people already have a head start. That was not the situation. You know, I remember when I got my SMS a couple of weeks later that said your application was received. I think I was more excited about my application being received than when I got an email about going to selection camp and when I got accepted. So like I said, the foundation is about building high impact entrepreneurs in South Africa. They take people from the SADC region as well. So those people are welcome to apply. So they focus on making you an entrepreneur. You know, we do a course, and actually I'm looking forward next year within the foundation itself, we have a graduation, and I'm hoping because COVID is relaxed, we're finally going to have an in-person graduation, and I'll be admitted into the association of fellows next year. So that I'm currently a candidate fellow, and this is my 4th year as a candidate fellow. But within the program itself, what is exciting about the bursary that I attend is that they don't just fund you. We have deadlines to meet. You know, we have a module, we have courses within the foundation in itself. We often refer to it as a mini diploma.
So while you're doing your studies at varsity, you also have courses that you do with the foundation?
Yes, we also have courses about entrepreneurship. So throughout your 4 years, they'll stagger the different courses on entrepreneurship. So you learn about social entrepreneurship, which is a lot like what Pastor Strike does in his everyday life. You know, being an entrepreneur, finding ways to fund social projects outside. And we learn so many different things. So we often refer to it as a mini diploma, which is why we have a graduation at the end of your 4 years of study, or your 3 years of study if you're doing a 3-year degree. And on top of that, they give you mentors. They call them industry mentors. And they link you with powerful people in the industry that you are currently in. My mentor last year is the CEO and founder of a legal services company. And, you know, it's also very important that...
What did you say? What did you say?
She's the CEO and founder of a legal services company. So this was quite intriguing because this is different from a law firm. Understanding the nitty-gritties was quite mind-blowing. I think I spent the whole year of our mentorship just trying to understand what they do in their company. And that's also something that's very important for people who are in university. For example, a lawyer, you think, I'm going to be an attorney or I'm going to be an advocate. There's so much more out there. And it's only if you ask and you are intrigued by these things that you'll find out the different things that you can do with your degree. So it is actually only last year that I found out, no, man, you can have a career in legal services and you bring in tech into law. You know, you have robots and apps doing certain things that lawyers do at a fraction of the time. And it is amazing to see what they do. And I asked, you know, because guys, it's really important when you are in the presence of people, you must ask. If there are people who know something, you must ask. And when I asked, you know, I was always, you know, what do? You know, explain it to me. And she offered me a week's internship. So last year, actually at the beginning of this year in January, I had a fully expenses paid trip to Cape Town to their company to do an internship. So they paid for 4 flights, they paid for accommodation, they paid for meals. You know, it was an entire package simply because I gathered the voice to say, okay, I want to learn what it is that you're doing. You know, these people are all around. They're not exceptional people. There are a lot of people who are willing to take you under their wing if you merely just ask. And I think...
So, Nyeleti, you know, when you talk like this, you make me ask, is this in South Africa? And is it happening in South Africa? Because because these opportunities, like you say, it's not specialized. It's not for specialized people. But you said something very important that you might, when you're in the presence of people, you must ask. I want you to zoom in, more especially to varsity students who are doing whatever course they are doing. What would you advise them? Because one thing that hits me very hard is for a young boy or young girl from a very poverty-stricken family making it to varsity, go and study and dig their nose into the books, and they are doing well, but they are not exposed. And the next thing they finish and they go home looking for a job, and there are no jobs. But what you are talking about here, and the exposure that you get, I can imagine if you have to sit for an interview with somebody who's maybe more even qualified than you, but who have never had an opportunity and the exposure that you had, I think you will not really perform the same. You would really stand out. What's your advice, specifically to varsity students in whatever course they are doing? What is your advice?
Thank you, Pastor Strike. My advice would be seek out opportunities to learn. Having good marks is not enough. I think in my first year, I had good marks. My average was a distinction. I had distinctions. Everything was good, but I looked at it and I said, but there's something more I can do. Your marks alone won't speak for you, unfortunately, because everyone has good marks. Well, not everyone, but I mean, a lot of people have good marks. So it's important that you should be able to set yourself apart. And to set yourself apart, it's simply to have knowledge that other people don't have, and to have experience that other people don't have, to have the insight that others don't have. And so I think the problem with a lot of young people is that we come to university and we think it's all about, getting the marks. That's not all the university is about. It's also very important in university to connect. You must build a network. You should be able to walk into your class towards the end of your degree and know everybody, and not know everybody in that you've attended all their parties, but you should know people. In that if you were ever to meet in the passages of wherever your profession often meets, for example, if I were to meet them in court, we would be courteous to each other because this is my colleague. If I ever needed a favor from someone in another industry, I should be able to have that. And it's very important, like I'm saying, to build networks in university. But also on top of that, there are many platforms in which you can meet people, right? Twitter and Instagram are not necessarily the place for a young person who is searching for connections and a job to be. That's not where you generally find jobs. You find things on LinkedIn, right? So I would like to believe that all young people, if you're in university at all, whether you're in first year, at this point, you should have a LinkedIn profile. And if you don't, this is the sign to go and, create one, because you meet a lot of people. And I think in my time, I've spent some time in a few firms. I've spoken to a few people, and they always say, you know what, I'm always very interested. If I get a message on LinkedIn from a student who's asking for mentorship, I'll say yes. Chances are they'll say yes. And if they say no, it's fine. Move on to the next person. I mean, they're not the only great person on LinkedIn. You move on. So it's if you aren't fortunate enough to find yourself in bursary programs that can, link you with these kind of people, LinkedIn is your next best place. Send those people a message, ask for mentorship, or maybe just ask them, how did you get to where you are? I see you are director of this law firm. How? What did your career path look like? Would you like to, now that we are slowly moving back to physical, contact sessions with people, say, can you maybe, can I take you out for a cup of coffee, perhaps? And we sit down and we talk. Also, lecturers are very insightful people. Lecturers know things. Lecturers know places that are looking for graduates, for example. Lecturers can write you a glowing recommendation or motivation. But you need to engage with these people. I had a lecturer actually for tax law last year, and that lecturer is to date my favorite lecturer because we'd always talk. I remember he said to me after our last semester test, and he said, I'm going to send you a message just before the memo, and then I'll write you a great motivation if you need one. So it's important, things like that. When you're in class, speak to the lecturer, answer questions. Small things like that can leave you with a lot of connections. It's not impossible to know people. You don't need a great bursary program to know people. It's the small things. It's speaking to people and making the grade of being in an environment. Because oftentimes you'll go to class and you'll sit on your phone and scroll through Twitter instead of answering questions that the lecturer is asking. And then when you're looking for a motivation for when you need to submit a job application, you don't know where to go. But you were in the presence of people who can open doors for you. You simply just didn't take opportunity of it.
Nyeleti, thank you so very much. That's very powerful. It's exactly 20 minutes to 8 o'clock, and we are on our program, The Conversation with Pastor Strike, right here on Bold Moves Radio. And my guest is MOVESA Mukwebo, a geologist, and it's also Mr. Jabu Matlati. He's an MD of his own accounting firm, JNR Accountants, and also Nyeleti Baloy, who is a final student doing a LLB, Rulan Baloy, Mama Rulan, who is the mother to Nyeleti. She's also finished her LLB also, this family, Ziabuya. And then, but you listen to Nyeleti, you then realize that she's self-motivated, she's self-driven. You listen to MOVESA, you see that they've got this thing that goes all out there, seeking information and making sure that they are making things happen. And of course, we have got also my daughter, Happiness Ranto, who is an air traffic controller, who was supposed to be joining us here, but she's still on duty. And I said to her, and she's with us, I see her comments here. Thanks, Happiness. She says, Nyeleti is that small girl making big moves. I'm highly motivated. You are literally raising the flag of hope for an African child. True. And please, you must fix your eyes on the traffic, Happiness. We don't want accidents in the air there. Thank you so very much. But I just want to say to all my parents here, thank you so very much for watching. And I trust that you're going to share this with your children, whether they are at high school or varsity, whether they are in entrepreneurs. Right now, I just want to bring in Mr. Jabu Matlati. Mr. Jabu Matlati, like I said, is the MD of his own company, that is JNR Accountants. Mr. Matlati, welcome. And, Nyeleti spoke something about the foundation teaching and with their goal to raise entrepreneurs, which is a great thing and which is what you are. And for your information, just to cut the long story short, Mr. Matlati, I've had an opportunity of pastoring him as a young man while he was still with TUT studying. And this young gentleman, he would do everything just to put food on the table. And, it reminds me of a story where he says he was lodging somewhere and the place was so bad that when it rains, you had to be ducking and diving the drops of rain. And also he worked as a Dhaka boy, we put it as just like there is a Dhaka boy in a construction firm. And he worked, of course, at the KFC, he worked at the SABC, he worked in all these different places and he worked for economic development. But something inside said, boy, rise up, do something. And today, his accounting firm is so big that financial institutions are really investing in it, in his firm, to be able to help a lot of entrepreneurs out there. Mr. Matlati, welcome and good evening.
Thank you, Pastor Strike. Thank you for the listeners and viewers.
Let's quickly look at, like I said, you worked here, there, and there, and there. Tell us what made you think, look, let me start something for myself. Man, you have got just a diploma. You know what I mean? A diploma in accounting. Were you taking chances or what was happening? What is it that pushed you to say, let me stand up?
Thank you. It started by maybe from growing up. I'm coming from the humble beginning. I was raised by a single parent. And then when I was growing, I was always selling something, taking pictures, selling chocolates.
Okay.
And then I was also I love to study as well. And I'll study everything. I was not only focused on accounting, but in general. And then when I started to work, I've made big mistake in my life. I became over-indebted to such an extent that I can't pay my debts. I can't pay for my room. I was kicked out where I was staying. And then I had to source extra income. And I realized that the knowledge which I've gathered in school I can generate extra income.
Okay.
And then I started to work from home. I had to purchase a laptop and then started to do piece jobs from home, assist like SMEs from rural areas who didn't have, for example, compliance documents. And I've realized that you don't really need to be very educated to close the gap. With the skills which I've gathered at the technical, it was sufficient enough to work with the likes of bottle stores, to generate pay slips, to assist them with basic compliance documents. And then through that, we managed to assist lots of people, especially around Limpopo. And then apart from that, I've seen the gap that, yes, I'm an accountant, but I'm not the business ethics. I went to VETS to study a management development course where I was able to map out processes, business processes, so that we're able to operate professionally. Because from accounting point of view, you wouldn't, you don't study HR that much. You need to understand human resource. You need to understand customer service. So there are all other things which are involved in business. So through that particular course, it did play a big role on the personal development, that we're able to understand our customers much better and the needs in the community. So, and then also realize that it's not all about qualifications. There are lots of things which can be done without, I'm not saying that it is not important to study, but in the finance itself, in the finance stream, there are lots of activities which can be performed by, you don't have to become very, very, very educated, because even if you were to be educated, most of the companies, 90% of the companies maybe in our region, like Limpopo, which are black owned, which we can access them, they don't really need auditors. You find that the turnover is below 50 million. And the companies above 50 million, you may not even have capacity to approach them. Even if you approach them, they may not they may not consider you because of where we're coming from as a country. So I had to look into what I have and then to access what I don't have, because of it was just easy like that.
And starting a business, I love it when you say you went to VETS to do this particular course. And what is the role of courses, more especially when you are an entrepreneur, like you said, with human resource and the like? Those were not things that you did in accounting. And if for you to run something, really you needed to equip yourself. Let's talk a little bit about these short courses, this, courses that one does, this certificate, that in building yourself as an entrepreneur, not just working, but making sure that compliance issues, information, knowledge, one is equipped. What can you say about that?
Thank you. Then, as accountants, we do something which we call it, we continue with professional development and other courses, short courses. It gives you an opportunity to network. And then when you network, you start to meet people from, even the people you thought that you won't ever meet them. And then you start to realize that that they look like you. Sometimes you are better than them in terms of thinking. You'll analyze the questions they're asking. And then by doing so, it provide confidence, because now you start to realize that you can benchmark yourself with one of the best people. Maybe you saw them on television, so now you sit with them next to you. So you start to realize that, no, if I can sit with this gentleman, it means we're on the same league. So which means you're able to compete national or internationally, compared to when you're not traveling, you're always at your own premises, you're not able to meet with fellow professionals. So it is important to meet with fellow professionals, to network, also to learn new skills, financial management, and the journey of other entrepreneurs as well, because we also share the journey called how it was your journey, and then we realize that we're working through similar journey, and it provides, it gives confidence which is good because you're able to understand that something will happen, because it started as a dream without maybe working capital. At some stage, you'll find that maybe your office is locked because you've paid your rental late. And then you realize that you're not the only one who came across such challenges, but most of the entrepreneurs went through the similar challenge whereby they were not able to get paid in time. And then you develop strategies to work around the financial management of the company.
And on that, Mr. Matlati, let's talk a little bit about the some of the hurdles that you had to confront, more especially when you start your own business, because knowing you, which I want you to also benefit the audiences here, you did not take off and everything became rosy. You had all the ups and downs. And what does it take? In a nutshell, what does it take to build something where sometimes there's no income? Sometimes you have got a few employees and you have to pay them from your credit card, and they don't know that, in fact, the money comes from a credit card. What are some of the hurdles, the challenges that a young entrepreneur must face or must be ready to deal with when you stand up and say, look, I'm doing this on my own? We are left with just about 9 minutes to close our show, but I trust that you are picking up something. And thank you so very much, all my viewers and listeners on Bold Moves Radio, YouTube, Facebook page, and Bold Moves Radio. Thank you so very much. Pastor Amos, Mfundis Rev Amos Matebula, thank you, man of God. Thank you so very much. What are some of the hurdles that you would love to highlight so that, and what does it take for one to stand even when things are tough like that?
Thank you, Pastor Strike, once again. You need to compromise. In most cases, when you are fresh from work, you like to compete, you like to buy a better car, a better television set. So you need to buy assets, things which can generate revenue when you start. You cannot, for example, you don't have to go for fancy furniture, but you have to go for a productive equipment which can generate revenue. And then you must be willing to work a bit harder, like work extra hours. And sometimes you also need to give. You can see maybe most of the IT products, they'll give you 30% free. Even on professional services, where to consult for free so people can come, because they won't know about you if they've not consulted with you. So when we started, we're not making appointments. A person will walk in and consult with you for free. And then that was it. And then at the end of the day, some of the people may come back, some may not come back. And then you need to manage financial resources very well, because today you might make sufficient revenue, the following day you don't make anything. And then you don't count the cash which is not on the bank account. So which means if you receive a promise from someone to say, I can put cash injection, don't start to go and make debts before the money is into the bank account. You need to wait until the funds are into the bank account and you start to transact. Because and then again, it is important to manage the credit profile, because from my side, the credit profile was a challenge to such an extent that I wouldn't be able to raise working capital through the bank. And then I had to clear the credit profile so that when I need resources from the bank, I can be able to access them. So it is important that you look after those type of things of credit profiles.
Very important points you're making. And I think this goes even to all professionals. When you start working, how you behave with your finances, very critical, very important, because it can just dent your name just like that. And before you even buy valuable things like property. Mr. Matlati, let's talk about JNR Accountants now, today, and its achievements, its growth, the staff complement. As I wrap up this, because I want to talk to Mandrulani and then we close this show. Just tell us and what the company managed to achieve, your staff complement, your what you are doing now, and even those services that are very important, more special for entrepreneurs, where you're working with financial institutions and helping with cash injections and things like that. What can you tell us?
Thank you. Currently, we managed to operate nationally.
Okay.
And we're partnering with the likes of Standard Bank South Africa.
Okay.
Where we assist entrepreneurs with funding who have purchase orders with government.
Okay.
And then in terms of staff complement, we over 25.
Wow.
And then in April, we've been celebrating 13 years in business.
You wanted to scare me then? Okay.
13 years in business. And then we also have our own premises, our other logistic business as well, with few trucks. So
when you say your own premises, what are you talking about?
Normally, as a business, we rent. So we're no longer renting.
Wow.
We own one of the premises.
Okay.
And then we're currently operating in 3 provinces, Mpumalanga and Gauteng.
Okay.
But we still access the other regions of the country. And then we use cutting edge technology. Like we're going for paperless office currently. When you visit us, you won't see files all over. Everything is on cloud. And you'll frustrate me because I'm a BBT. If I don't see files, then I'm thinking, well, are you really doing my books well? Yeah, so we're able to work from everywhere. During COVID, we're able to operate as if nothing is happening. Yeah.
Lovely. That's beautiful. Thanks, Mr. Matlati. He's the MD of J&R Accountants. And wow. And this guy started in humble beginnings. We're taking a commercial break. When we come back, we will be with Mrs. Roland Baloy.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is.
Streaming 24/7.
24/7. Bold Moves Radio.
Africa, nakupenda sana. Oh, Africa, nakupenda sana.
There we go. This is Bold Moves Radio and is broadcasting from the city of Polokwane, South Africa in Lepompo. Mama Roland Baloy, let's quickly, you've had your children. Yeah, whatever whatever gadget you are using, let its volume be low. Mama Roland, you had your children. I may say that, more especially the students, Mudisa and Nyeleti, and you also are a product of a bursary. When we talk of the entering the job market. Out of all what they've said, what can you advise our children? What is your advice? I'm very much concerned. You will know that I'm very much concerned about our children. I'm concerned about their future. That is why we say Bold Moves Radio is about boldly breaking barriers and limitations and raising the flag of hope for an African child. And as a mother and a professional, and who's also studying, and who's also running a section in the municipality, more especially in tourism and marketing and all that. What have you collected, and what can you say to our children? What must our children look for, and what can they gather from all what these girls have said today?
Thank you, Pastor. I agree 100% with Mulisa and Nyeleti. We tend to make a mistake, and sometimes it's with us as parents, thinking a bursary or a program is for those who cannot afford. They have indicated, Mulisa said she's just waiting for them to finish the processes so that she can be able to go and do a graduate program with them. If you do not have a bursary, it becomes difficult, because that is a bursary is a process for companies to say, we want to sift, get the best crop in the country to be part of our company. No one wants to appoint anyone whom they are not sure how productive they are, more especially in a country like ours with very stringent human resource policies. It's very difficult in this country to fire someone. So even when they're not productive, you are stuck with them. So companies are wise. They look for graduates when they are still at the university. So one can say a bursary, take it as you starting to look for employment before you qualify. Because you are sure that when you qualify, someone already has got interest in you. For myself, when I passed my grade 12, I was fortunate enough, I got the provincial government's bursary. They were awarding the top students, so I got it automatically. And I had to choose what I wanted to do, and then they transfer me to the department where I will be, my skills will be needed. I could have simply gotten a job. I was studying with the University of Natal in KZN, but the province, because they've invested in me, and they were sure that, oh, this student, we have been monitoring their progress. We saw how she did in matric, and we've been monitoring her progress throughout her undergraduate degree. It means she is someone that we can invest in to say, come and join the department. And one of the conditions for bursaries is that you cannot go and work outside, but you have to work for us because we have invested in you financially. So I automatically had a job. When I finished my degree, all I did, I went to graduations, came back, started my job. Wow. So if you do not have a bursary and you don't take time to look for those opportunities for bursaries, you are as good as saying, I'm not looking for a job. Why are you studying? Because a job, even if you want to be an entrepreneur, a job will help you to get the skills. Mr. Matlati has indicated that he worked somewhere. I'm sure you will not have known, university degrees give you a certain level of information, but there are certain things that you will have to go out to get for yourself in order to become an entrepreneur. You should have worked somewhere and see how they do things. Then you say, I can do better. I can come with better solutions. It's after you have seen it. You cannot come with a better solution if you have not seen any other solution. And some of the programs, like the one that Nyeleti is in, they give you an opportunity to be amongst the industry leaders. She has indicated she has been with CEOs. Most of the places that Nyeleti has been, I've never set foot in. My connections end with politicians and government leaders. But can you imagine if you take that advantage at university, create that network, go all out, even if your parents can pay for your studies. Some bursaries, when you enter, like the fellowship program that Nyeleti is in, it's not a must that they pay for you. If you are well off, you say to them, I'm well off. You don't have to pay for my fees. All I want is the experience that you are giving me as a fellowship candidate in your program, which is very important. So I would like to advise all our graduates, please, when you start at university, that first year, throughout the year, there are programs. Throughout the year, there are bursaries. And I know at universities, they try their best. There are days where they say they are open days for bursaries, for job market, but students go there, even ourselves as adults, you have seen adults going for an exhibition. All they do is collect squeeze bottles and come back. And how much is a squeeze bottle? 15 rands. You waste time instead of going all out to make connections, meet those people, ask them valuable information that is worth millions, and you are collecting 15 rand and a pen, and come back with a branded pen, and come back with a t-shirt. You become a walking billboard. I always say, don't wear someone's branded clothing, because I'm marketing for them free of charge. They must actually pay me to market for them. So young people, when you go all out there, go and look for opportunities. Do not sit and say, I'm waiting to complete my degree. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you so very much, Mama Rulan. I was going to say, what are your parting shots? But you did exactly that. We really appreciate you for enriching and empowering our children. And I would love to say to all the parents that have been following this show, let's share this show with our children, whether they are at high school or at varsity, or they are job seeking, or they are into entrepreneurship. because, Happiness says, I thought this show is going to be 2 hours because it's power-packed. And then she's asking for a second session. We will consider that, Happiness. Thank you so very much. But I would love to take this time and say to Nyeleti, what are the parting shots? What is it? What would you love to say to who? What would you love to say to who? You choose whom you want to address now in a minute and give them what it becomes your very important message to them, whether they are high school learners, varsity students, entrepreneurs, or they are young professionals. What would you say, Nyeleti?
Thank you. I'll take my minute to speak to the matric class of 2022. I just really love to encourage them. These are your last few months. You're completing your applications. And I'd like to encourage you to do research before you click submit on your application. And after clicking submit, I'd like to encourage you, in your December holidays, because it's quite long, perhaps take some time and go and do a little bit of VAC work at someone's company, anybody, whether you're paid or not. Take a week, go and experience the job market. That way, when you start your first year, you know what you're looking for. Take some time, do your research. When you apply now, if I ask you, what is your first choice? You should be able to tell me, my first choice is this. And with this first choice of study, I'm going to go and work at this company or this company or this company. You should have goals that you're aspiring to. And if you have those goals, it will be very simple for you to know what to do to get yourself where you desire to be. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Nyeleti. Thank you so very much. And just wait, and then we'll close the session together. Mulisa, what are your parting shots? Who are you talking to tonight? Whom do you want to address, and what I say to them?
I would like to address people that are still in university. If you still don't have funding, it's never too late to look for one. This is your opportunity. This was an opportunity for you to hear what other people that used bursaries have experienced and the opportunities that came with their bursaries. So it's never too late for you to start looking for a bursary.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Mulisa. And I would love to hear from Mr. Jabu Mahlati, the MD of JNR Accountants. What are your parting shots, sir?
Thank you. They say that the biggest investment which you can ever make is to invest on yourself. How do you invest on yourself? You need to study, or people these days who love social media. But let's stop reading junk information. Let's invest on reading good information. The information which can grow your business, the information which can grow you on your studies, than to search for junk information which won't take you anywhere. I'm talking to our students. I'm talking to our entrepreneurs. There are all lots of courses online these days. This studying is becoming less and less. There are also free quizzes which you can take online, which can enhance the performance of your business. And there are also good information online. But I've seen it a lot where people are spending precious time reading junk information. And then when you read junk, you think junk. Thank you.
That's powerful. You read junk, you think junk, and you live junk. Thank you so very much. And I just want to check, is Happiness somewhere around, or is she still, she's still controlling the traffic? But Happiness, thank you so very much. We will consider another session, and you will be able to share your story. But here I have Dr. Mabila Matebula. He's a friend of mine, a very great man, and he said something about opportunities on entrepreneurship, and I will rope you in, a big brother, and then we will talk. And I've seen also Dr. Masenyani here, Dr. Rexen Manganya. I've seen also Dr. Criswell Baloy, and I've seen also Dr. Minga. This show was watched by academia and entrepreneurs. I see also Dr. Singi there. Thank you so very much, family. We really appreciate, and thank you for coming through. Even technical guys like Nelson Kwambiwa, thank you so very much. This is a technical man. He's an electrician. He holds a diploma in fact, he's got a wireman's license, this one. He does your house and give you a COC. Thank you so very much. I see also educators, Mama Charlotte Chabalala Baloy. Thank you so very much. Thank you, family. Kokwan John Mawila, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate you all. And thank you for being with us. Queen B, thank you so very much. Allow me to close this show. It's about 10 minutes and some few seconds after the hour 8. And this is the conversation with Pastor Strike on Bold Moves Radio. And I'm saying to us, let us raise the flag of hope for an African child. We do so by sharing information. And I beg you, family, please share this information, share this particular information with others. And I'll also, if you want the app for Bold Moves Radio, please contact me on 0728221610. I have a WhatsApp on that same number so that we can send you a link and you can download the app for Bold Moves Radio. But you can also get it on Google App Store so that you are able to listen to the radio anytime, because wonderful programs are coming on this platform, which are about enriching our African child. And of course, I said this coming Sunday, Mama Roland Baloy, she's coming with a Prudent Woman program, and it's a brand new program. It will cover all areas that encompasses the needs of our mothers, be it educational, be it beauty, be it diet, be it everything will be there. And she's got resident dietitians, social workers, you name it, doctors, everybody is in that program. And I'm saying, beloved, let us meet Sister Roland Baloy Sunday, 6 o'clock in the evening, an hour that is power-packed. And I trust that your life will never be the same. Remember, boldly breaking barriers and limitations and raising the flag of hope for an African child. And that is Bold Moves Radio. And I say thank you to you all and a blessed evening. To all my guests, thank you so very much. You've been so good and you've dished out valuable information to our audience. And we really, really appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
This is
Bold Moves Radio.
Streaming 24/7.
24/7.
South Africa, South Africa, South Africa.
Boldly breaking barriers and limitations.
Thank you so very much, family. A blessed night to you all. And of course, Bold Moves Radio continues with wonderful worship and praise music. Enjoy it. If you are driving, just tune into Bold Moves Radio and enjoy yourself. Thank you so very much. Love you all.